What's up? This is our 362 project.
Sketch with friends.
Bye!
So basically in Sketch with Friends, there's a master which controls the screen and also receives input from two slaves which collect values from an analog stick. So basically the way that the slaves communicate with the master is over the I2C protocol. So each slave has a unique address and their wires are connected via the SDA and SCL. They're all sharing the same connection, and because they have a unique address, everybody can communicate with each other. They're also sharing a common ground, which caused a problem because this shield takes up all the pins on the Arduino, so we had to sort of take it aside and wire all the connections onto a breadboard so that they could share ground with the other Arduinos that they need to communicate with. So the master will loop and request input from all the slaves, and basically the slave will send one of 8 directions to the master to indicate which direction the cursor should be moved so that the master knows where to draw the next point.
So how the slaves work, these two Arduinos, is that in their setup function, they set up a request handler from master, which uses the wire library, such that when master sends out a request using the same wire library, the slaves will call a specific function that is specified in setup. When this is called, they'll get the current reading from the analog sticks and convert that into an enum, which ranges from 0 to 9. It's 8 values for the directions. 1 value is for the analog stick being centered in place, which is kind of just thrown out. And then another value, which is for a click. So the click itself is implemented using an interrupt handler, such that we learned in class. When the click happens, an interrupt is called, which flips a global Boolean value. So when the next request comes in, we could just tell master that there was a click recently and then flip the value back. So we already talked a little bit about some issues we had, such as how we couldn't just plug this LCD shield on top of the master Arduino because we needed to do some rewiring custom. Another issue we had is with this undo function. So as you'll see right now, with both users drawing, if one user clicks, it undoes the entire display. Originally, we wanted it so that each click would undo only that user's drawing. And the way we were going to implement this was that each slave would keep track of the coordinates it had drew to before it sends it to master, such that once you click, you would then take the most recent 5 coordinates and send those back to master with a special value saying to erase these. It would then be overwritten with the background color. However, we quickly ran into the issue of memory constraints. The Arduinos just don't have enough memory to hold all these values, and they were segfaulting very quickly, running out of space. And so we had to throw that idea out. And we resorted to just having it so that each Arduino has the capability of deleting the entire display, as this is the only viable option.
One of the next steps that we would have done if we had more time to work on this project would be to add more granularity to how many directions the user can move the analog stick in. So as you can see, right now the user can only send one of 8 directions, so you're either going up, down, left, right, or one of the diagonals. And what we'd like to do next is implement at least 16 directions so that the user can move the cursor more smoothly and draw more interesting pictures that aren't constrained by the 8 directions.
Additionally, we would have liked to have been able to house this unit better so that all these exposed wires are not visible. And another thing that we would like to do as a next step would be to offer more options for the slaves so that each slave could choose its color of the drawing, also the brush size, and these could easily be implemented with a push button or maybe some potentiometer or something like that. Yeah.